Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Joey Marino here with your June 22nd, 2024 weather update. A mix of clouds and sunshine and passing showers today with highs in the upper 80s, increasing chances for severe weather this afternoon and evening. That does include the potential for tornadoes, so make sure to stay up to date with the forecast as the day progresses.
I've been chasing storms a long time. I always wonder what it would be like if a tornado hit your hometown. Would people be prepared? Would they take warning seriously? What would the true outcome be?
Was located over in Janesville, moving east at 40 miles an hour. This is a particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now.
Oh my God, dude.
Hazard, damaging tornado.
Another one.
Source, weather spotters confirm tornado. Impact, you are in a life-threatening situation.
My name is Tom. I'm a trained storm spotter. About 3 to 4 minutes ago, there was a tornado. It looked like quite a large tornado on the ground on the south side of Janesville doing some damage.
We got a tornado here south side of Janesville near Hanover, coming into My youth baseball team was playing in a tournament in East Troy that weekend, and there's an MCS that came through in the morning, and just enough rain fell. They decided to call the tournament for the day, and I knew severe weather was probably going to happen later that day. It was enough to kind of get me out the door pretty late in the day, actually. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was after 3 o'clock, which usually if you're leaving then you know you're too late to the game. A little more confident that there would be a decent chance for tornadoes in southwest and maybe even south central Wisconsin. I did see one tornado earlier in the day near Belmont, Wisconsin. Right as I got out there, essentially drove right up to the storm. And noticed that it had a little couplet on radar, and ended up being one of the most spectacular rope tornadoes that I've ever seen. I was driving east on Highway 11 back into Janesville, and right around Footville, just past Footville, I continue east on Highway 11, and kind of look to my south, and all of a sudden it looks like it's starting to spin. Tornado warning came out from the National Weather Service, and at that point I turned south onto Hainer Road toward Skelly's Farm Market in the Laclemont neighborhood, and that's when I saw the first spin up from the Janesville tornado. When I saw the first spin up, I was actually driving south, and it looked like there were a couple intermittent spin ups from the tornado. And after that, I had, it was just a big rotating bowl up in the clouds, and I couldn't. All of a sudden, I saw little pieces of debris getting lofted up in the air, and I said, sure enough, and that's as it was coming through Laclemont neighborhood, and I said, sure enough, it's still a tornado on the ground. Not a fully condensed tornado, but it's still doing damage at that point. It was a mix of emotions. It was scary knowing that I have a wife and 3 kids on the northeast side of Janesville. So I knew something wicked was going on up in that rain, because it was wrapped in rain from my position at that point. You really had to be in the notch to have a good view of it at that point. Knowing the characteristics of some violent tornadoes, that they have a tendency to kind of make a left-hand turn as they're dissipating, I made sure my wife and kids were in the basement just in case this was a stronger tornado that made that left-hand turn and was going to head toward the north side of Janesville. Started seeing posts being shared of damage on the south side of Janesville, and obviously I had no idea what had happened once that tornado was wrapped in rain. The of emotions, but mostly heartbreak. I didn't know if any friends were impacted. I didn't know if there were injuries, if there were deaths. Obviously property damage is something that nobody should have to deal with, but it's really the human impact that affects me the most, and when it happens close to home, you feel that a little bit more than when it happens in a place that you're not familiar with.
Oh, right there, vortex! Look at it going up! Look at it right there! Holy sh!
Oh my God. Oh my God. I had to work that night, so I was sleeping until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. Woke up and saw there was a tornado warning storm out west near Belmont. My time to usually rest is in the afternoon, so I woke up about 4 or 5 o'clock and saw there was already a storm ongoing out west. That's when I really saw it, moving easterly kind of toward the general direction of Janesville, so I figured why not? I had a couple hours till I had to leave for work, so I figured I would just head west on Highway 11 to go check it out, see what it had. I met the storm around Footville. I think it was just west of Footville. So at the time, it looked really outflow dominant. It had gone through a few cycles and produced a few tornadoes out by Belmont in southwest Wisconsin. And it was moving toward Janesville. And at that point, I thought that the day was done when I had gotten out there because it looked cold. It had like a shelf cloud on the edge, which is usually indicative of outflow dominancy in supercells. From what I recall, I remember there was a cell merger from a storm that was moving up from south, hit it in its inflow region, and basically like a light switch went from looking cold and kind of just outflow dominant to really starting to spin fast. Following it east out of Footville, I forget what roads I was wiggling down, but I eventually ended up on Tripp Road further west from where I live, probably by 3 miles or so, and I really noticed a pretty rapidly rotating wall cloud taking shape just to my south. It started spinning pretty fast. I turned, I believe I was off of Johnson maybe, onto Tripp Road eastbound, and I was following it kind of to the northwest of the circulation. Driving east on Tripp Road, and it dropped just to my southeast, probably about 3/4 of a mile maybe. I really didn't know. I was so focused, like I was just laser focused on the tornado itself and, roads to keep up with it at that point that I really didn't realize that the proximity was moving like directly over my neighborhood. And I started experiencing probably 90 plus mile an hour RFD from the north. I couldn't see the tornado at the time, and at that point it was impacting the pheasant farm right on Highway 11. So at that point it was kind of unsafe to just continue because I don't chase stuff that I can't see. Sized just about probably a half a mile away that there was a trampoline and the power lines and a bunch of trees that were down, and realized that it had gone right over my neighborhood. It was just shock. I remember I was like, no way, like this, there's no way this could happen, like especially to like a storm chaser. How ironic is that? And I pulled onto my street and saw everyone kind of just wandering around like zombies, and there was like pieces of roofs and shingles on the road, and I saw that my house was still standing, but there was just quite a bit of damage everywhere. Trees down, people's garages were lifted up and shifted off the foundation, parts of roofs were gone, things like that. Yeah, it was a feeling of, it was just shock, I would say. I wasn't really sad, I wasn't angry, it was just kind of like a holy cow moment, like this actually happened where I live, but chasing these things, you don't ever think that's going to happen to you because it's such an astronomically low chance of that happening, especially up in Wisconsin.
What is that, River Road to get to the other one to get to Belden?
No.
Look at it pulling in, dude. Look at the inflow.
It's rotating.
Holy, look at that vent. Oh my God, roll down your window. Can you record that louder?
It was actually my birthday weekend. I just turned 31. Nothing ever happens in Janesville, like ever. So we were sitting there and the weather started turning pretty bad, and the idea that I had of tornadoes was it can't like rain super bad at the same time that the wind is happening. It's one or the other. Like, I didn't know anything about rain wrapped tornadoes or anything like that. So then I got a message, a text message from my neighbor asking, "Are you guys okay?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Pretty sure we just got hit." And I was like, "Hit with what?" And she's like, "No, a tornado just went over us." And in that moment, my heart sank, because I thought my husband and my baby were home. And during all of that time, I was going back and forth with my neighbor, and she's like, "Just brace yourself. Like, there's a half of a house in your backyard, and I don't know if it's yours." And I was like, "This is it. I lost everything." Like, I tried calling my husband. He wasn't answering the phone. About probably 15-20 minutes that I thought my family was dead. Like, I thought the little girl that we tried so hard for 2 years of fertility treatments to get was gone. I thought the love of my life was gone. I thought my pets were dead. I thought I lost the house that we worked so hard for, was all gone. Closer. But when you turn onto Avalon Road, there was too many down power lines and trees. And my dad's like, "I can't go any further. Like, this is as far as we can go." Well, that wasn't good enough for me. Like, so I started running. And I was climbing over trees and power lines and through puddles barefoot. And my mom's like, it finally got to the point where we started seeing fires and arching power lines and like all of this stuff. And my mom's like, we cannot go any further. Like, it's one thing to lose everybody, but it's another thing to lose yourself if we don't know if they're okay. So you see people like crying and hugging each other, and people's houses like that are caved in on each other, and roofs that are missing, and trees that are going through other people's houses, and they're checking in on each other. And the only thing on my mind was to get home to see if my family was there. And then I got a call from my husband, and I hit my knees just bawling, and he acted like there was nothing wrong. He's like, "Are you guys okay? Like, what's going on?" And then I heard her cry as soon as they got home. Like, we had to wake her up, and at that point it was probably like 10:30 at night. And I don't think I touched one of those stairs flying downstairs. Like, we're safe, everybody's okay. Like, we're safe, everybody's here. Like, everybody's alive. Like, nobody got hurt. Like, we're still here. They kind of band together, and they went from house to house to house to make sure that everybody was good. It was really very heartwarming to see. Like, you always see the Red Cross, and you never think that you would be a person that needs them. And then when they're there helping you, and you have people in their church shirts, like, volunteering, and I mean, it's blistering out. It's the middle of June, and they're breaking their back to see our community come together. It was amazing, but at the same time, you never want to be on the receiving end of that.
So my husband and I were just sitting on our deck, having a couple beers, and we noticed it getting dark, and then it started pouring on us, so we went inside. And we have a bi-level house, so our side door connects to our deck. And we were just watching because it got really windy, and then it calmed down pretty quickly. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we couldn't even see outside, and I thought I had seen rotation. So I had said to my husband, like, "Nate, I think that's rotation." And he looked, and sure enough, he swore and told me to get my ass downstairs. We have 3 small dogs, so I'm trying to rile them up to go downstairs. And we couldn't even get halfway down the stairs, and stuff was hitting our house, and it was the worst like sound ever. Everybody says like a train sound. It happened so fast I can't even remember the sound. I just remember stuff hitting our house and not even know what's going on. Wanted to make sure we were okay. I still went flying down the basement. I didn't even care at that point. I didn't know what was going to happen, and that's one of my biggest fears. But I was texting my parents and my best friend, who actually both live like a couple blocks away from each other on the east side, telling them to get their butts down in the basement because we were just getting hit, and I wanted to warn them. Truthfully, I think even after the math, didn't believe it. We thought it was just a bad storm because the sirens never went off. I think it happened so quick, we weren't sure what happened. That rotation, we couldn't say for sure if that's what was occurring because we tried getting out of the way as soon as possible. We both went to the side door. He opened it, and I actually went to the side window and opened the blinds, and you couldn't even see our side yard. We had so many trees down, it like destroyed our fence that we just finished, our deck. We had live wires all over the house. I mean, you couldn't even see outside our house. We couldn't let the dogs out because there were so many live wires on. And you couldn't get down our street because there were so many trees across it. I think we were finally realizing what happened when somebody was knocking on our door to make sure we were okay. Our very next door neighbor to our west, they were the house that was affected, probably one of the most, and they're the other one next to us. It's a bi-level, and the whole top half was taken off. People there were also home, and so both families were displaced then at that time too. We bought this house. It was 5 years prior, and we put so much work into like new siding, new windows, new roof, everything. And here, right in front of us, that quick in 30 seconds, it was just destroyed. Don't ever think it's not going to happen to you. I think how many people we actually have like in our lives to help us, because we had a lot of family, friends. Amazing. I used to run child care center. I had parents from the child care center prior that they showed up and they were helping get stuff out of trees taken to the dump and everything like that. The community was going around dropping off food and water and garbage bags, anything that we needed. You know, everybody says it's not the materialistic things. We're okay. It is the materialistic things because we've worked so hard for everything. I mean, we work overtime, everything just to do this stuff. But us being safe is what's most important.
Janesville's a wonderful community. Neighbors helping neighbors, service organizations helping out when they can, where they can, food, water, chainsaws, just hands picking up brush. It was phenomenal to see the community come together and really help everyone affected, whether it was just one tree down or whether it was significant damage to their home.
The first day after the tornado, we had Skelly's come over, and they had trucks full of donuts that they were just passing out to people that they had made. And this was at probably 9 in the morning. We had Home Depot, I believe it was, coming around bringing buckets with like batteries, cloths, food, things like that, tape, just anything that you could think of that would assist with the recovery. And then there was another group, I think it was Red Cross, that had sandwiches and drinks that they were literally driving around our streets of our neighborhood, passing that stuff out to the people that were working. So it was really awesome to see that. We even had neighbors come over that I'd never met before that said, "Hey, do you guys need help? Do you need help cutting up stuff or lifting stuff?" And it was just great to see that kind of outpouring. I think it's paramount. I don't think there would be recovery without a community, because there's a lot of people that might not have the resources, the family, the money, the time to do that on their own to rebuild. And I think a lot of the aspects of the community really help get a town or a city back to where they are and even better.
Your community, like where you live, matters. There's people that you think that hate you, and you have like these neighborhood feuds and stuff. It doesn't matter. When people need help, people will come. They'll band together. And then I think like the major thing is to be aware.
Take this off my shoulders. Someone take me home. Home, a place where I can go to take this off my shoulders. Someone